You never know how the results come in. I mean, it's very, very simple, right? You ask the same question to chat GPT twice and you'll see the results are not exactly A to Z same. कुछ तो difference रहेगा, wordings में difference रहेंगे, कुछ तो difference रहेंगे. If it would have been the same, then it would have been pretty much clear that there is a particular definite thought process that if you get a question like this is how you're gonna think. But no, it decides on its own what thought process it has to go through. Make sense, everybody? Press one. If yes, cool. Moving on. Now there are two types of AI. I am pretty sure everyone has heard of Gen AI. At least, I mean, even it was written on the creatives. I mean, the poster created by GDSC. But I don't think any one of you have ever heard about discriminative AI. Have you? No, right? So yeah, this is where many of the articles and stuff leave things. Gen AI is basically where generation of data is happening, right? Data or anything, audio, video, media file, text file, anything at all, where the AI is generating things. Discriminative AI, on the other hand, is where classification, detection, more of machine learning things, very simple. So if you have a machine learning course, you'll see you have this, a very, very simple, like when you start the machine learning roadmap or stuff, the very few starting projects are iris classification, iris flower classification, you have breast cancer classification, you have spam detection and stuff, right? So generative AI, as I said, text generation, image generation, the QR code was a very, very good example of that. This is why I put it in the beginning itself. Music generation, right now you'll see AI is being able to generate music for any artist, you name it, and they'll do it. And it's very scary for the industry, especially because these artists are labeled, like these there are certain labels which own copyrights over these artists. Let's say there is this so-called label called Warner Bros, which owns copyright for Harry Potter movies, right? So if any other company tries to re-release Harry Potter, they'll have to deal with Warner Bros and stuff. Same way, if anyone is trying to create an AI music based on a artist which who has signed with a label, that's kind of, I would say, unethical. Video generation is very, very common nowadays. Data synthesis is something I want to talk to about. Yes, how many of you know about data synthesis? I mean, what do you understand by data synthesis, if anything at all? Just raise your hand so that I can ask you to unmute. Come on, guys, if you don't know, just press simply one and we'll move forward with it without wasting too much of time. All right, great. काफी तेज हो तुम लोग. So I'll tell you what data synthesis is. AI is very, very heavily dependent on data. Okay, the more the data is, the more accurate and the more consistent the AI will function. Right. जितना ज़्यादा आप data feed करोगे. Now, if let's say, if you give AI a scenario, a situation, a real life incident, and you ask it to make decisions on it, then based on that one incident, it won't be able to make decisions too far because it doesn't know what are the other probabilities that can happen. Right. But if you say, let's say, in a car accident, there are many probabilities. A person can die. A person can, I mean, survive. A person can survive with a coma. A person can survive with heavy internal injuries. I mean, there are lots of probabilities. A person's dead body can be lost. Just giving you an example, right? So these are the different sorts of scenarios which can happen. So in order for an AI to be more accurate and to be I mean a more consistent, you need more data. This is where generative AI comes in with data synthesis. Data synthesis is basically the process of generating data by its own to feed itself. I mean, an AI model capable of generating data out of thin air. उसके पास already कुछ data है. Let's say it has 100 data sets. Now, using that 100 data sets, it creates another 50 data sets. It becomes 150 now. Using this 150 data sets, it creates another 100 data sets. It becomes 250. Geometric progression, you can see that, right? That is way, way scary. Trust me, that is way, way scary. But anyways, data synthesis is one thing where AI itself learns and generates data and feeds itself so that it can perform better. Discriminative AI, as I said, spam detection, image classification, medical diagnosis. Coming to sentiment analysis, many of you use Twitter, I guess. So, has it ever happened to you that you tagged some big company like Flipkart or Airtel or Amazon on Twitter, ranting out like, "Hey, your services are not working well, this and that," and you immediately receive a reply from them in the comment section? Shubhajit says yes, right? I can show you a screenshot, but I'll have to dig deep through my Twitter. But yeah, so basically what happens here is they use this sentiment analysis. Obviously, no one is sitting behind those Twitter IDs responding to 100 tweets per hour or maybe per minute, people trying to rant out all angry and stuff, right? So they have this sort of bot, machine learning and everything is applied, where they take a piece of text, ठीक है जो भी आपने tweet किया, they take that piece of text and they run it through their machine learning algorithms for sentiment analysis. Now, by sentiment analysis, I mean it can be a positive text or a negative text. By positive, I mean, let's say you bought something on Amazon and you're quite satisfied. In fact, it exceeded your expectations. So you're just going out on Twitter and kind of praising the services by Amazon or whatever it is. So this is a positive sentiment. On the other hand, let's say you bought something online of Flipkart or Amazon, and what you received is a broken product. So you went out on Flipkart, on Twitter, and tagged Flipkart and ranted out, "Hey, Flipkart, I need a replacement, this and that, customer service." So you'll see this is a negative sentiment. Now, based on your positive or a negative sentiment, the bot will just a predefined reply. Let's say if the sentiment is positive, the bot will reply like, "Hey, thanks for shopping with Amazon," or "Thanks for shopping on Amazon. Keep shopping with us. You'll get exclusive discount, whatever it is, etc., etc." If it's a negative sentiment, the bot will reply something like, "We are really sorry to hear about it, sir. Kindly get in touch with us with using this link, whatever it is." Right. This is what generally happens. You'll see no one is doing it. I mean, there's no human sitting beside behind the screens and doing it. It's all machine learning and AI happening here. Sentiment analysis and predict. So last year, even Flipkart Grid, mein, there was this problem statement of doing sentiment analysis of tweets and plotting charts and all sorts of different things. So they wanted to run an analytics of how well the customers are satisfied and all. Right. So I think it pretty much makes sense to you, but if it does not, press one. If it does, press two. Because I really want to understand if it's not okay. Shovik says, okay, guys, Shovik, it does not make sense to you. I mean, is there something that you're confused with? Okay, Shovik makes scenes. Do not make too much scenes, bro. All right, let's move on. I hope it's clear. Uh, Now there are two angles to AI which you need to pretty much understand. Okay, this it's a huge kind of thing that people miss on. Uh, Even there are a lot of people who consider me as an AI engineer. Just so that you guys know, an AI engineer at least needs to have a 15 to 20 years of experience in machine learning and deep learning. Because AI is not something that you can learn overnight, or there is no definite roadmap to AI. Because एआई सीखने के लिए आपको पहले मशीन लर्निंग एंड डीप लर्निंग सीखनी होगी. You need to understand the machine learning concepts. You need to understand the deep learning, because, as I said, these are all ultimately machine learning and deep learning models interacting with each other. So an AI engineer needs to have at least 15 to 20 years of experience with. Otherwise, probably not an AI engineer. If they can be an AI developer building using AI models or stuff, or a prompt engineer, whatever it is. I myself am an AI developer and a prompt engineer. Okay, we'll come to the prompt engineer part as well. Now there are two angles to AI. One is the research and co-research angle, where the core AI is involved, where the AI is actually developed. So AI, machine learning, deep learning, they are all very research centric fields. Very research centric fields. You'll see if you're applying for foreign universities for PhD and stuff, you'll see most of them have something in the AI space, neurotechnology, cognitive intelligence, something or the other like that. Because it's so brand new. I mean, not brand new, it has been for years, but still we humans are trying to figure out what more it can do, how more we can optimize it and all those stuff, right? Research part is where they build the core AI models, all those terminologies you see, weights, biases, neural layers and stuff and whatnot. All those come into the research and core AI part. So they do the research, they come up with a conclusion, they build the model, reiterate over it over and over and over again until they come up with a satisfactory model which they can release to public use. And here is the second angle to AI, which is building on top of AI. Now there are already available models online. You can use those models to build your product. You don't need to have intense knowledge of AI. Having basic knowledge of machine learning and deep learning will give you a plus point, but it's not mandatory. If you have it, you can more, you'll be more flexible. You can customize it more according to your needs, but it's not mandatory. You can still build on top of AI. So there are two angles to it. Now, again, coming back to the thing where I said AI has been here for a very, very long time. I mean, just to give you an example, ever heard of any of these things ever in your life? Don't tell me you haven't. I'll ask Shivangi to kick you out of the meet. Right. Now tell me, don't you think this is, tell me if it's not AI. You ask Siri randomly. I take my phone, ask Siri, hey Siri, call XYZ person. Hey Siri, just drop a text like that. Is it not AI? Siri is understanding by itself, comprehending, trying to comprehend what I mean. Sorry, Siri, come on. Yeah, Google Assistant, Alexa, Cortana, Siri, these are all AI models. But I mean, it has been here for how many years? 10, 12, 15 years? But what made all of a sudden AI boom in 2022, 2023? I'll tell you what. No, before that, let's understand why AI wasn't booming before. Because, and it's still a very, very harsh truth, AI is very, very expensive. I mean, very, very, way too expensive. It's very resource heavy. By resource heavy, I mean you need to have very, very high computing powers, servers, and GPUs and CPUs and everything, very high computing power. By resource heavy, I mean you need to have very, very huge data sets, clean data sets, unbiased data sets, unprejudiced data sets. We'll come to all these things later. It is very time consuming, very time consuming. And AI, building an AI model takes a lot of time to reiterate through, training it on data and stuff, fine tuning it, trying to understand if it's doing well or not, testing and all stuff. And in the end, it's very, very expensive. Not every company, I mean, a company as big as, let's say, make me think of a company. Let's say GoDaddy. GoDaddy in itself cannot afford to build an AI model entirely. It's such a big company, makes billions in profits, but still not billions, I don't know, but millions at least, hundreds of millions, but still not that big of a company who can build an AI model by itself because it requires a lot of capital. Trust me, a lot of minimum of 200 to 300 million dollars kahin nahi, aaram se. It's so expensive. This is why not every company had those AI chatbots before, but OpenAI came into the picture in 2021, I guess. I don't remember, but yeah. Now, इससे पहले क्या था? Siri was there, Google Assistant was there, Cortana was there, and everything. But they had very, very closed. You understand what is open source, right? I guess every one of you understand here what is open source. Everyone has access to that thing. But here, what OpenAI did was they made their own AI model and they just announced it publicly कि आप लोग मेरा AI model use करिए. I'll give you a very, very easy way to use it. And you need to pay me some amount of fee, which is very, very minimal. Now, imagine integrating AI into your existing project in less than 5 lines of code. Less than 5 lines of code, trust me. OpenAI launched their APIs and everything went booming. Every other company has now OpenAI's models, GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT 4, uh, Text DaVinci, and all those things running under the hood. Ultimately, it's OpenAI who's providing them the AI models, not them, but they're built on top of it. Polygon Copilot. I've worked with Polygon to build Polygon Copilot. There is also GPT-4. I mean, GPT-4 is running there. Yeah. So now let's talk about LLMs. Okay. Now, when you go to OpenAI's website, I want you all after the session to just visit OpenAI's website once, and you'll see nowhere in the entire website they mention themselves as an AI company, except the name itself, obviously. They claim themselves as a company which builds large language models. Now, what is a large language model, you might ask? By the very name, it is evident a large language model is AI models, not AI, but models which are trained on huge corpus of data. Huge corpus. I mean, 70 billion, 50 billion. 50 billion has 10 zeros in it. 50 billions of data sets and everything, right? That is why it is so consistent, it's so fast and everything, because it knows every single probability that might happen in a certain scenario. And with large language model comes very big challenges. Now there are two major challenges in making your AI or the company's AI very intelligent. Okay, you can make an AI very consistent, accurate by two things. Either you make the model very super intelligent by all those research, by investing in the research thing, trying to play around with the metrics and numbers and all those parameters which are their weights and biases, how many neural layers will be there, how many neurons per layer will be the hidden layers, dense layers and everything. Or if you can get clean pre-processed data, both way you can excel in making a good AI model. Now how? Super intelligent model, it's pretty much obvious to you guys, right? That if you have a really super intelligent model, then obviously it will give good responses. But if you don't have that much of resources or that much of engineering power to have super intelligent model, then if you can get clean and pre-processed data, and now by what I mean by clean data is, I don't know how many of you know, but OpenAI has these claims over them. They are still running the cases on the court that when you ask for, I mean, how do I label it? It's kind of discriminative. But what happens is that when you ask ChatGPT to generate something about slavery or something related to labor, they somehow refer to the darker complexion of people. Okay, and never ever use the word black or anything with them. They just have a dark complexion, nothing else. But yeah, and if you ask something of high, like let's say if you ask ChatGPT to generate data about some high authority or something like that, you'll see they'll always come up with the people with lighter fair complexion. Now this is biased data. This is biased data. One more thing, when I was creating and I created CranGPT, and the journalist who reached out to me from Abu Dhabi for interview, she told me that ChatGPT is too biased towards Muslim. I mean, it's it kind of promotes Islamophobia. It's a very real thing. Trust me. Uh, I would ask you, request you guys. It's a very humble request to stay away from all these matters. Do not indulge in all these matters. But yeah, let's not go there. Let's keep it very to the point. So ChatGPT used to produce data or results which were very conflicting, very controversial, related to Islamophobia and stuff, which got them even cases and claims and everything. So this is where clean and pre-processed data comes in. If your data is not clean, and by clean I mean this: if you have a data set where 99% of people are fair complexion people, okay, then obviously the data that the machine will produce will also be a fair complexion people data, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. For this, cleaning of data is required. You learn all these things in machine learning, pre-processing of data, where you need to remove all the noisy data, remove all the outliers and stuff. uh, this is one point. Okay, so if you can get any of these two things up and running, I mean, if you can get clean and pre-processed data, then your model is good to go, accurate, consistent. Or if you can super intelligent model. Now, super intelligent model requires hardware dependencies. Okay, to make your model more super intelligent, you need more and more hardware computing. As I said, resource heavy, right? You need more super computers, I mean, powerful computers. And just so that you know, NVIDIA is the company which kind of produces very, very app that thing. And Nvidia stocks have been going high. Nvidia has become top one of the top five companies now in one less than 1 year just because of the compute hardware that they are producing. Okay, and Nvidia is running out of devices right now, chips and devices and all those things. So super intelligent model is right now not possible because Nvidia cannot produce hardware company. So if companies cannot build super intelligent models, then obviously they'll go for clean preprocessed data so that their model is functioning well. Now for clean preprocessed data, what they are doing is they are tying up with companies which provide data. Shutterstock is one of the companies which provide non-copyright images, if you guys know. OpenAI recently closed a 6-year deal with them. Okay, so that what the hell is Shutter AI? Shutterstock provides images, non-copyright images to OpenAI for high quality training data. And Shutterstock is one of many, many companies which OpenAI has recently closed deal with. Just and not just OpenAI, even Google is closing deals with these companies to get high quality data. And ultimately, we know all of these because of they want training, good training of data so that the machine learning models can perform well. Just because they cannot work on the intelligence part because hardware dependency wala restriction आ जाता है. Makes sense अभी तक? Everyone press one if it makes sense. Meanwhile, I drink a bit of water. All right. I see. So if any one of you have any question, just note it down, keep it all jotted down. We'll answer each and every question in the end. All right, let's move on. I'm not going to keep you guys waiting for long. Now, there are lots and lots of AI models, and most of them have launched ever since the release of OpenAI's. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is there are difference between an open source AI model and an OpenAI API. Now, by an open source AI model like Llama, Llama is an AI model built by Meta, Facebook. It's an open source AI model. But can you tell me what's the difference between Llama and OpenAI's GPT and stuff? Anyone in the chat section? Take a shot. Come on. Nobody? Sad. कोई नहीं कोई नहीं. So Llama has open sourced their model. Meanwhile, OpenAI hasn't. But for for you to run the Llama model on your system, so open source means the entire code base is available, right? So if you want to use the Llama AI model, you need to clone the entire code base, run it on your local machine or cloud wherever you want it. That means you require computing power. On the other hand, OpenAI says you do not require anything. You just plug in this API into your system, and we are the ones who will be bearing your computing power. Right. Obviously, they're charging. Llama does not charge. It's an open source model, but OpenAI will be charging. But trust me, the charges and fees is very, very minimal because if you go on and run an open source model, it's gonna be more expensive than paying model and cloud anthropic. These are all a few AI models. There are lots of different AI models. Cohere is a company, AI 21. I've used their models as well. Palm, if you know. So all these are AI models available, large language models available on which you can use in your products, projects. Okay. Now, as I told, imagine integrating AI into your existing project with just 5 to 10 lines of code. Am I audible? Everyone,
Sometimes your voice
press
is.
one if I'm audible. Okay, where did you guys lose me? Like, can you just point me out so that I can revert back to that thing? I think I'm having a internet issue. Shouldn't be that, but yeah, it's fine now. Anything that you guys have missed in the last slides? Should I revert back to the last slide? Press one if you want me to revert back. Come on, guys. I wanna see. I mean, I didn't know. Obviously, that my voice is breaking, but still. Okay, okay, okay. 111. Let's go back. Let's go back, boys and girls, obviously. Yeah. So GPT series, Llama, Falcon, Claude, Anthropic, these are all large language models available online which you can use in your projects, right? Now, as I said earlier, again I'm gonna repeat it. Llama is an open source model developed by Meta, also known as Facebook, right? And OpenAI has the API, OpenAI API. Now, what is the difference between these two is basically Llama has their entire code base for the model available on their GitHub repository, which you can clone and use their model or use this large language model in your project, but you need to host it on your own server computer. So you will require computing powers for that. On the other hand, in OpenAI APIs, you don't need to do anything. OpenAI simply says you just plug in our API and we will provide you everything with computing and stuff. You don't need to take care of that. We are the ones who will take care of it. You just need to pay us a minimal fee for every request that you make. So that let's say you are running a Llama model on your system, or let's say on a server. So to run a Llama model, you need some GPU specification, CPU specification. Per month, आपका कुछ आ जाएगा खर्च, because for an AI model to run, it requires some hardware specifications, some computing powers. But OpenAI case, you don't need to worry about all that things. You just plug in your API key, and for every request you need to pay. It's not even fixed. If you're not making any request, then you don't need to pay at all. That's how it works. So it's pretty much good enough for everyone to get started, right? These are a few AI models, and these are all these AI models available online for different sorts of things: text generation, classification, knowledge answering, translation, and stuff. Right? Does it make sense, everyone? One दबा दो यार. Cool, cool, cool. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, as I said, imagine integrating AI into your existing project with just 5 to 10 lines of code. Okay, this is just one example. This is how you can integrate the OpenAI ka API in your Python project. Just one line of code. That's it. And your project becomes an AI project. Now, this is where I'll need you guys to just be attentive for a minute. And any one of you, whatever side project you've ever built, anything, just whatever comes to your mind, just give me a one liner here, the name of the project. Let's say it's a hospital management system, and a one liner. And I'll tell you how you can integrate AI and make it next level. All right? Does that make sense? Come on, everyone get started. Okay, we'll try to understand how you can integrate AI into your project with very minimal lines of code and make it an AI project. Jarvis and COVID management system. Can you give me a one liner of COVID management system? Jarvis is something that is pretty much everyone knows that it works totally on AI. Okay, and Cortana and stuff were already there. Stock market analysis, another example, right? So for stock market analysis, how you can integrate AI is, let's say you integrate these machine learning models to predict using these previous data of the stocks up and downs and everything, and closing price, opening price. You can predict what will be the stock price in the coming days. I mean, I don't know if I can open my. Let's see if I can. Just give me one sec, guys. Let me see if I can show you something. Okay. Can you see my? Can you see this? This is the current graph of Bitcoin. Okay. Now you see there are so many datas here. 24 hours high, 24 hours low, 24-hour volume, 24-hour volume in USDT. What is the percentage change? If you can see, if I let me show you something here. Let's say, see this. I don't know if you can really clearly see or not, but here you see red, green. What they're doing is basically they're analyzing data based on previous data. Right. Now, let's say Bitcoin was yesterday. Let's assume it was 20 lakhs. Today, if it's 21 lakhs, then there's a percentage change that has happened overnight. They're using this data, and then they're letting you know that there is a probability of Bitcoin going to 22 lakhs tomorrow. Right. This is where you can integrate machine learning into your stock market analysis. It's quite risky, I would say, but still, I mean, this is how these machine learning so-called sorry, these stock market apps do prediction and stuff. You'll see, how many of you have booked tickets online, train tickets, IRCTC के platforms से? IRCTC specifically. Two, three, four. I actually okay. So you'll see when you book tickets from IRCTC or even the Paytm, you'll see when you're booking waiting list tickets, they show a probability percentage. These, I mean, you have a 74% chance of your ticket getting confirmed. Right? How do you think they're doing it? I mean, do they really know who's going to cancel the tickets in the last moment? Totally depends on the passengers. Right? They are doing this using machine learning algorithms and stuff based on previous data and all the huge data, and then they are kind of predicting that okay, if this is the number of seats we have, this is the number of waiting list we have, what are the chances if someone books a ticket and it gets into waiting list, what are the chances that it will get confirmed? Okay, this is how. Anyone else? Any other project? Freelancing website, can you give me a one liner, Prithvish? Anyone else want to tell me any idea that you have right now in your mind? I can tell you how you can integrate AI. I mean, just a rough idea would work. Anyone from the Shivangi? Do you have your core team here?
Yes, yes. Prithvish is from our core team only. I'm. You can unmute
All right.
yourself,
All right.
Prithvish.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Prithvish, what's up?
Yeah, hi. I'm
क्या हुआ
actually
भाई
from
इतने
the
उदास
more
क्यों हो?
so
All right, all right. So no one has any. I mean, ठीक है, you guys are making it monotonous deliberately. It doesn't really make sense. Okay, Shobhajit says, I made a network visualizer which shows all your IP packets and where it's coming from in Google Maps. In Google Maps, can you elaborate a bit more?
You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, Shubhajit, you can unmute. I mean,
Hello.
hey, hi Shubhajit.
Hi. So I was talking about the network visualizer. So it kind of like generates a KML file. I don't know if you've heard of a
Yeah, yeah,
KML
yeah.
file. Yeah. So
I
like
have heard about.
it generates like a KML file of where all of your IP packets like are coming from. So you can generate those PCAP files from Wireshark, and you can I just passed through it and just generated an KML file, and then you can import it to over to Google Maps to show like where all your IP packets are coming from and where it's going.
All right, all right. Where you can integrate AI here? Do you have any idea like
Not
how you
really.
can? I do have one. Okay, it won't be mainstream AI. It would be kind of suggesting users how they can avoid. I mean, let's say there is one region in the map concentrated where a lots of device. I mean, major IP packets are coming from that particular area.
Yeah.
Right. So the AI model can suggest, like, let's say the based on that data, the AI model assumes that your system is getting hacked probably. I'm not sure, but like
So uh okay.
so based on that, based on that data, let's say your machine learning algorithm comes up with a prediction that maybe your system is being attacked. Okay,
Okay.
and the AI can suggest ways of how you can avoid it. And these ways can even include some methods with code examples and everything, how you can block IP packets from a certain region.
Yeah,
Does that
that
make
makes
sense?
sense. Yeah, yeah.
Let's say I have an application and I can see I have imported your whatever file extension you named. I don't know KML तक मुझे समझ में आया उसके बाद नहीं समझ में आया. But I imported it. I saw that ठीक है this particular